Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is going to be a small mix-up from our sort of normal programming. We unfortunately have to take a one-week break from, I would say, probably the world's most popular actual play show / podcast. That probably makes things worse. We are calling this show Scheduling Conflicts for obvious reasons. This will probably continue to be a show that occasionally exists when our mainline show is down for a day because of one thing or another. I'm going to go around, I'm going to introduce myself, and then my wonderful friends here are going to introduce themselves and the characters that they will be playing here today. As you can see from our wonderful display, we will be playing Monster of the Week in the sort of future-fied version of our Prospect setting. Naturally, you all already know everything about Prospect. Don't worry about it. I will catch you up in just a minute. So my name is Ethan Kipp, and I will be the keeper today as we play Monster of the Week. Up next, Spencer Mayo.
Hello, I'm Spencer Mayo, and I'm going to be playing the Divine Vigil, an angel sent on a mission from God to help out my next co-host here. Take it away.
All right, I'm Stefan Petrowski. I'll be playing the Searcher, Luke Hout, and they basically got like a cosmic vision from like a very weird painting that kind of connected them into the divine, and then our two characters met up.
Today's adventure will be taking place in the city of Artifice, a not-so-magical flying city which floats above the dead world of Prospect, which was killed 100 years ago when the god of magic bit the dust, and magic slowly disappeared from the world. It had already begun to do so, but it rapidly descended after the fact. Magic began to vanish, the dragons shrunk, the magical creatures disappeared, and the gods grew silent as the barrier between the planes became so thick and tough that no creature could traverse it. Fast forward 100 years, and things have begun to change. Some magic has begun to return to the world. Some of the dragons have begun to grow larger for the first time, which is helpful because Artifice is kept aloft by a massive hive of dragons that live in the bottom of it and propel it upwards with flames every couple of hours. But most importantly for our adventure, the gap between the planes has begun to thin. Some weaker aspects of the other planes have begun to leak through, a prime example being Vigil. Woo woo. We start things off with a press briefing put out this morning on the Artifice Telegraph. Disaster. The Prescott killer has struck again. This morning, the 8th of high water, a fourth body was found in the sprawling Prescott village. Senator Hewlett assures the press this morning that there are isolated incidents, but this paper won't be taken for a fool. What kind of understreet mugger rips out rib cages and leaves soot behind? What drug-running mook leaves their victims with dark eyes and looks of terror? What sort of enforcement from the city arrives ununiformed and starts ordering the city sentinels around like common couriers? Something is amiss in this city, and we will not rest until the truth is revealed. But they will, because we're not playing the press. We're playing this ununiformed group that has taken over. We are following two members of a brand new order in town called the Travailers. A dynamic monster hunting duo setting out into the world to protect the mundane, squishy humans of Prospect from those that would see them harmed. Pretty exciting stuff. The last victim you two were briefly updated on. They were found in Huldrick Apartments, where they were living at the time. Their body torn to shreds. You receive very little detail besides that. We are obviously going to pick up with you arriving at the scene of the crime, or this would be kind of a weird adventure. The first one down was Vesper Moytan, a human from Prescott Towers, born and bred, a man of absolutely no importance. Vesper Moytan lived a normal, quiet life, making his way back and forth to work, before finally biting the dust, being killed in a seemingly horrible way. Where would we like to start our adventure, my wonderful duo of detectives? Are we beginning in Huldrick Apartments? Do we find you already at the scene of the crime? Or have you decided that some other approach to this early moment is somewhat more appropriate?
I would vote to be in in the building, taking a look at the body.
So we
Sounds good.
smash cut to the lobby of Huldrick Apartments. This building looks like it was extremely nice about 30 years ago, but the tiles have long since cracked. The grout has gone a sort of drucky gray that nobody has bothered to clean, and there is a clear post for a doorman who no longer stands there. Instead, an automata powered by what little bits of magical crystals have been cobbled together since magic has begun returning stands there, smiling and turning back. Very little going on behind its bland mechanical eyes. You approach up through the front door and make your way up the steps in eerie silence, filling the stairwell as obviously nobody is out and about. Is it daytime or nighttime?
Late evening.
It's late evening. Let's call it the crest of 7 p.m. The town is still awake, but perhaps headed to bed soon as you make your way up several flights of stairs to the apartment of Vesper Moitan. Vesper Moitan lived a life of, relative luxury on the 10th floor of Prescott Towers.
At least relative comfort.
Yeah, this is not a cheap building to live in. Certainly, they do still have a robotic doorman, despite the building falling into disrepair, and you are headed 10 floors up. So as you make your way up, seeing windows sort of pass you by, you are impressed with the view overlooking the city. You can just barely make out the distant shape of the sort of large pyramidal building that marks the center of the city, where the truly wealthy people live in their small, gated pyramid community. As you are making your way up the stairs and you turn the corner, a thick smell hits your nose. A blend of day-old roadkill mixed with thick, acrid, vile smoke. If you've ever driven by a house fire, not a wood fire, a house fire, where it's that bitter, thick smell that comes off of that black smoke, it fills this hallway. About halfway down, you see a door open and a horrific streak of blood that goes down all the way across the floor of the about 8-foot wide hallway and up the wall about another 5 feet. A nasty sight.
Yeah.
Can I see any signs of like fire damage around here?
Absolutely. Go ahead and investigate a mystery, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
As you walk up, you see a couple of members of the city sentinels in their crisp blue uniforms looking around. One of them quickly stumbles out of the building holding a waste paper can, obviously from inside the apartment, and lets out a horrible into the can as they are forced out into the hallway and away. Whatever they've seen is far beyond the pay grade of a group of what are essentially the local militia.
9 plus nothing.
9 plus nothing. Investigate a mystery on a 7 to 9. Hold 1. You can ask me one of the following questions. What happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here? Try to ask something that feels appropriate. If you ask what can hurt the creature right now, I'm probably going to hang up the call.
I'm going to go with what's being concealed. The first question I have is, are there like scorch marks just clearly visible? Like, has there been a fire, or is that not visible?
So I'll give you that one for free because it's something that you would notice within human limitations. You walk up, there is no signs of fire, just the smell of smoke. You do see some sort of black soot staining streaking the ceiling, but there is no burn damage on the floor. There's no signs of fire damage anywhere. And the body is in a stain, but not one that would come from flames.
I'm going to go with what's being concealed here, then.
What's being concealed here. As you walk up and turn the corner, and get a good look at the body, how much does this sort of human-level violence shake Vigil? Again, for those of you listening, Vigil is a divine, so I don't know to what degree this would really sort of set you a kilter.
Not at all. This is like doing taxes.
Gotcha. So you approach to find a body pretty shredded. Obviously signs of like deep gouging marks. The blood that has swept out clearly indicates this like big streaking pattern of violence, and some of the limbs of the victim are spread across in other rooms. Content warning for today's episode. What is concealed here? You quickly see that the other city sentinels that are in the building are all looking everywhere but at the body. These are people who are used to, like, you know, people that are hustling blood in the city, killing each other, stuff like that. They are not accustomed to this level of violence. And so you very quickly just sort of drop to a knee, putting out, are you like in a suit and trench coat or just suit?
Just suit.
Just
a
suit.
Pristine black suit.
You put a folded up towel down and place your knee upon it as you lean down close over the body. And you quickly start pushing around without much in the way of squeamishness, and eventually end up just sort of grabbing the edge of the rib cage and lifting up and looking, and you see that the victim's heart is completely gone. Clearly as if it was simply, and there are sort of like distension wounds, so obviously their chest was ripped open and something reached in, grabbed the heart, and pulled it out. Didn't even cut it out, just pulled it.
Traveler Luke.
Yes.
It seems that its heart was stolen.
Oh, this is a very gruesome mess here, too. Does it look like they did that at first and then just played with the body, or was that after all of this gore smeared here?
Seems likely to me that it took claws or something of that nature, ripped it apart, and then reached in for the heart. It seems like the main goal was easy access.
Okay. And I'll try to take a further glance at like the general crime scene and like use the things I've seen. So when I encounter a creature phenomenon, you may declare that you have seen it before. So seeing maybe within that like cosmic painting whether like a similar like grotesque scene had like appeared in it before, and just like drawing on that visceral effect of like almost reliving the encounter in that image of the painting.
Great. What's your playbook against that? I can just take a quick look. I want to make sure that I know what to tell you and what not to tell you.
That was for the searcher. I think it was one of the extra.
Oh, is it from the other? It's from the other book.
Drive.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was the
You
one with the gumshoe in it, I think.
Yeah, you immediately threw me for a loop. It's from the Tome
Oh,
of
sorry.
Mysteries. No, it's fine. I love the Tome of Mysteries. For the record, for any of you listening looking for a new game to play, Monster of the Week is so good, and you can learn it in like an afternoon, which is probably the best part about it. All right, and so you just did. What was the name?
Things
of
I've seen.
Things I've
Bottom
seen.
right of the 9th page.
Sure. So tell me about the last time you saw something like this.
All right. So I guess like I wouldn't have like remembered it from my previous thing, but like being in a similar scenario now, I guess I would have like heard perhaps like the screaming or the effects of like the visceral like splattering and action, and like the probably the impact of the wrath of whatever happened here.
Gotcha.
And that kind of just comes seeping into my mind.
Absolutely. So this kind of sort of fiery animal violence that you are seeing is clearly has a mind behind it, right? It is tactical, but it is not efficient, right? There's no interest in efficiency. The impression that fills your mind rather quickly is, with your knowledge of sort of cosmic lore being your main way in, is that this feels infernal. This feels like something from Vanity, the dark plane below. And it certainly occurs to you that if Vigil is in the world, other things could be as well. So it is a little bit more vague, perhaps, than you were hoping, but when you try to consult your sort of vision, you find yourself a little spotty and are just sort of drawn to a plane.
Yeah.
There are two sorts of creatures in that plane.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is much scarier than the other, I have to say.
This one's already pretty scary.
I'm going to approach one of the sentinels who looks like he might be in charge, or she might be in charge.
Absolutely. The Sentinels do have sort of ranks within their own. And so you basically find the person with the most bars on their sleeve, a pretty classic like military move. You don't need to use too much brain power to do it. And you see a gentleman standing in one of the corners. He's flipping through what is clearly some sort of case report that he has, probably just information about Vesper, who is sort of standing to the corner and giving orders. You notice that, however, he too is avoiding eye contact with the body. This is something of a busybody, suddenly in a very violent and real situation.
Excuse me, Sentinel. I
yes.
see that your fellow Sentinels are investigating the area around the body. What have they found thus far?
Not much. Furniture destroyed, the place topped over, but no items seem to be gone. No money was missing from the gentleman's safe. None was even missing from his wallet. No items gone from the kitchen, living room, bedroom. Nothing. To be perfectly frank, it doesn't seem as if whatever it is that killed him even left this spot. And he gestures to the other rooms, which you can see are completely undisturbed. It would seem that whatever came here directly for Vesper and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing was stolen, but have you found anything kind of like strange that is here? Like any weird kind of like artifacts or like artwork or
Paraphernalia.
stuff like
The soot markings were the only thing that really stood out to us. It looks as if there was a great, terrible bonfire here, but again, and he points around, there are no signs of fire damage. I am, High Sentinel Archibald Fisk. By the way, I'm in charge of our little militia regiment here. I will admit I was nervous somewhat to hear that you were cutting in, as it were, but, it's good to see you are obviously both. And he looks at Vigil's hand, which I imagine is bloody up
Covered
to the
in
elbow.
blood. Yes.
Proficient in this sort of case, as he sort of gags back a little bit of vomit. Yes, that's the only thing out of the ordinary that we noticed. We saw no felled runes or any other such magical stuff. Sorry, magical stuff. He is beginning to lose color.
I'm going to use my ability Soothe. When I talk to someone for a few seconds in a quiet voice, I can calm them down, blocking any panic, anger, or other negative emotions they have. Even if the thing that's freaking them out is still present.
Okay, so you see a calm slowly overtake Archibald Fisk. Is
better.
this like a very natural thing, or is this sort of drug-like? Like, what is that? Like, is this a very natural progression to calm, or is this a sharper?
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, you
If
watch
people
his
know what they're
eyes,
looking
like,
for.
"Whoa."
Yeah.
And he like, yeah.
So, Sentinel Fisk, follow-up question.
Mhm.
How did it enter the room?
Oh well, it seems to have just propelled its way. At first, we couldn't figure out it. The issue that we're running into is that the door is shattered out, not in. But at the same time, the evidence dictates that the creature doesn't seem to have come from within the apartment. It only occupied this room. And he gestures over, and he goes, and there are no windows into or out of this room. They are all connected. This is the internal side of the building. So, it is, I do not know, it's as if the creature appeared here, and then, and you actually hear one of the other agents, Fisk has gotten extremely calm, goes, we have not confirmed any sort of species, and Fisk goes, sorry, yeah, the perpetrator, was...
Possibly something infernal.
We cannot confirm or deny that. You see him kind of snap back to the company line a little bit. It seems to have either very delicately hidden itself within the apartment for a very long time and then smashed its way out, or appeared here, but that sort of magic hasn't been seen in a very long time. I don't know what could do something like that.
And is the pattern the same then as the other 3 deaths? Like, just like the appearance inside the room and the exploded door?
I suppose I ought to share all of the pertinent information with you.
Much appreciated.
2 of the other victims died on the street. So obviously the same does not extend to the other 2. The 3rd victim, whose name thankfully was kept from the press, unlike poor Vesper here, was actually the last, near as we could tell, Bishop of Rhodes, was found dead in the chapel. That,
And
I would ask you, is privileged information. We are keeping that
Of course.
on purpose. If we have a serial killer on the loose, we do not need them to feel glorified in their actions. That's in the handbook. And he nods, sort of
And-
self-soothing.
does
Is it-
Vesper have a family tree tied back to anybody notable that we can observe or you've already observed?
Not that we can deduce. Vesper Moitan was a normal, seemingly sort of just a normal chap. His family lived largely in this district. He had a grandfather who was a senator out in the towards the like R&D sections of the city. But before that, they lived on the rim. Nobody of particular importance, no. That was something that we were early fearful of after the bishop was killed, was that this was somebody sort of scaling. There was fear that it was some separatist faction trying to make a point.
Yeah, and was the chapel of Rhodes that's in, is that in the building here, or is it nearby the tower?
If you just look through the window in the bedroom, you can see it. It is a separate building. It's very difficult to miss, however.
All right. So is there any pattern like between the two in the road and the one over in the building there and the one here, like any sort of like anything on the map as far as
Some
like the way the
triangulation.
Because of your calm spell, he goes, I gotta be honest, man, I'm in over my head. I have no idea. I mostly do like robberies.
okay.
People rob a building. I can show you on a map where they died.
That would be good.
That's what I got for you. But I gotta be honest, this is way outside our normal MO. And you see the same, like, basically this guy has like 4 stripes, and the same seemingly like lieutenant with 3, whereas everybody else has like 2 or 1. Like, looks over at him again and tries to like catch his attention behind your back and like give him the like fucking stop it, because he doesn't know he's under some sort of magical effect. So yeah, I will let you guys know. So Holdrick Apartments is on one side of the river, that the artificial river that goes through this part of the city. The Church of Rhodes is on the other side of the river and is this sort of big standalone structure, whereas everything else are part of these sort of like city blocks. The Church of Rhodes is this large standalone building. The other 2 died in seemingly unrelated alleyways. One reasonably close to the building you're in now, and one like right next to the Church of Rhodes.
Mm-hmm.
So to describe it, obviously we don't have any sort of, for those of you at home, if you ever run this game, we don't have like Roll20 set up, so I have to sort of be a little bit more forthcoming with stuff that I would otherwise be like, ooh, maybe they'll get it. In both cases, there is a death in the alley and then a death in a building.
Mm-hmm.
So right outside the Church of Rhodes, somebody was killed, and then the Bishop of the Church of Rhodes was killed. And right outside of the Holdrick Apartments, somebody was killed, and then somebody inside Holdrick Apartments was killed.
So were the 2 in the alleys the first ones killed, and then the deaths in the apartment in the chapel happened?
Correct.
Seems
Okay.
like some sort of blood magic.
I am not at liberty to sort of assert that would be. Do you think it is? Do you really think it is?
Stole a heart from each of them, I believe. We have to
What?
look at the other bodies to be sure. That one's missing a heart.
Is there a coroner like that gave an autopsy on the other 3?
Or has it been too recent?
They're in the morgue. We have a burial scheduled for the first one in a couple days.
Oh, it's
Yeah, we could check that out.
He's saying
Okay.
no. They certainly did not
Yeah,
plan to.
no.
They had no plan to take them to a surgeon or anything. It seems like they were going to bury them. He goes, we received pretty stern instruction from Senator Hult to bury those that were killed, find the killer, and tie this up in a bow.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How quickly did you get those instructions from the first kill then?
7 hours.
That's pretty prompt.
Yeah, murder in the city is usually happens sporadically in certain areas. We are not in one of those areas, and so we basically sent up the wire what to do, and they said bury the body, and then a second person died, and a certain tone of urgency began to filter into those requests.
I'll be right back.
Sick.
And
Sorry,
I disappear.
Yes, sorry. Yes, citizen. Damn it. He's like trying to get his feet back under him. The second you turn and walk away, Luke, you watch his eyes go back to normal, and he like, what the fuck? Like mutters, what the fuck, under his breath, and like holds his stuff close to him and turns away from you and starts talking to the lieutenant, who goes like, as Vigil turns. Vigil, what are you up to?
I use my ability Angel Wings. I can instantly go anywhere I've visited before, or to a person I know well.
It's the meanest thing you've ever done.
I have to roll for it, but I'm just trying to go downstairs. I don't want to walk down the steps.
Gross. Yeah, go ahead and roll. I mean, I guess if you're going downstairs, I'm going to give you advantage, right? Roll 3 dice instead of 2 and take the 2 highest. This is pretty trivial.
That is plus weird, I think. Let me see. Plus weird, yeah. So I got a 10. So I make it.
Yeah, Angel Wings, 10 plus complete success. You just go exactly where you wanted. You see the captain turns to the lieutenant and says like a single sentence, and he's like, I don't know. And the lieutenant goes, well, you better catch up with him and see. And he turns and he goes, where did your companion go? And we smash cut to Vigil downstairs.
Yeah.
Vigil, you're just in the lobby, I assume?
Yes. Greeting, robot.
Hello.
Do you have a log or recording of people coming in and out of the lobby by chance?
Yes.
Can I see one for, this happened how many hours ago?
You didn't really do anything to find out that piece of information.
Can I see for the last 24 hours?
Yes.
Good.
And you see a lens like into his mouth, and a projection begins
10x
to fill
fast forward.
Space. Yes.
Enhance.
Begins to move extreme. It's gonna work exactly like you want it to. You say 10x forward, and it begins to like very quickly move through time. You watch.
Pause there.
It's a lot of people sort of darting in and out, and then at an opportune moment, you say, "Pause there." When you see Havoc, you see people running, and it pauses. But you only ever, even as you like go through at half speed, you see like people running coming from inside the building, assumably people who went up to their apartments to discover this absolute gory mess. You see no foul beast flee. You see no fell creature leave the apartment.
Has Vesper Moyton had any guests in the past week? Pizza delivery does not count.
Yes.
Who?
Do you have identification?
Yes.
I take it you hold up. Do you have a badge? What do you have?
Yeah. I think...
Security camera footage is pretty loose, but you were then like, tell me personal details about a tenant.
Yeah.
But like, what does it look like? You do have something. I just want to know what it looks like.
I feel like we probably got like cloaks and amulets that the people used to wear, but it's really stupid now. So I have like my amulet tucked in my pocket, and I pull that out.
Yeah, because you're in theory like this sort of ancient organization. You pull out this like pendant on a heavy
We have
chain.
long swords that we just have back at home.
It's very fun. You see that he scans it and goes, very well. And then you see sort of like a like haze sort of drift over its like android eyes as it clearly like combs through who came into the building, who did they say they were looking for. This guy's basically the like New York City door buzzer, so he's the one that lets people in based on how people respond. He probably has some like vaguely shitty version of the sending spell. As it like filters through this list, it goes, Orville visited 4 days ago, carrying a large parcel.
Got it. Has Orville visited before?
Orville has visited the building 112 times in the last year.
Is Orville a delivery man?
I do not have an employment on record for Orville.
Fair. All right. No shot at the last name, that's for sure.
Orville.
You just rolled up and said, I'm Orville. Let me in.
Orville is a tabaxi of light fur and even complexion. Basically, he doesn't have really good ways to talk about cat fur. He's a monocolor cat. Basically, there's no stripe and plumage to it. They're just the same roughly fur color, which I always think looks weird on cats.
Ew.
Whenever you see it's normal when you see black cats and stuff, but when you see a brown cat that's just completely beige, you're like,
it's that's a dog.
the fuck is that?
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird. It'd be like seeing a dog with stripes. You're like, what is that? But yeah, so that is the information he gives you. Is apparently this person, this tabaxi named Orville, is in the building all the time, but was specifically in that apartment a few days ago.
Got it. Thank you. And then I use angel wings.
Roll again.
And I teleport
hope you
to
end up in
Luke.
the center of the earth. Roll again. Same deal. You have advantage. You're just, again, if it's within 30 feet or 200 feet.
I got a 9.
What happens on a 7 to 9?
It's a partial success. I'm gonna look at the details.
On a 7 to 9, you don't quite manage it. Either you are separated or you appear in the wrong place.
Oh, when you carry 1 or 2 people with you, roll plus weird. If I'm just going, I don't need to roll shit.
Great, yeah, you just boom, boom.
Let's go.
You are Luke in the middle of having the person be like, "But where did he go?" And Vigil is just suddenly
All
there.
right, just
Hello, Traveler Luke.
welcome back.
Sorry, I had a cough. Archibald turns and over in the corner.
Vesper had a visitor 4 days ago, by the name of Orville, a tabaxi carrying a large parcel. Light fur, even complexion.
Oh. I know Orville.
Orville has visited the building 114 times. Seems like a regular.
I mean, it makes sense. Orville runs the Emporium down the street.
All right.
Orville's Antique Emporium.
An antique, huh? Are there any antiques in the room that look kind of newly placed?
Or very dusty.
One of the two of you make investigate a mystery check, and the other one to help them in some way.
All right, I'll use investigate a
Archibald
mystery then.
continues to say, Orville's Antique Emporium. They're having Orville's reopening the place. They closed for a few days. In 4 days, 5 days. It's just around the corner.
Yeah, I'll look at I guess if he had a package, I'll look for the debris of the package in the trash can and see if it can matches up with any
yeah, totally. Go ahead and
artifacts in the. All right. That is a 7.
On a 7, yeah, you get the information. It's perhaps not the most complete that it could be. You quickly find the torn up brown sort of paper that was wrapped around it as Vigil describes it. Vigil, in relative detail, describes what they saw downstairs. As you're looking around for something that is about the right size, there are 2 items in this room that seem to fit the description. The first is there's a rather large portrait on the wall that seems to depict, this is clearly a very old painting. It depicts a dragon in resplendent pose, resting its hand atop a golden throne with subjects beneath them. There are a few people that seem to be in a similar dress to the dragon, which has some ornamentation around its neck. This is a lot of art from the old Federation of Elders comes out that looks like this. And the other thing is a giant mirror on the wall. It is about the same size. It's about the same I don't know, what's a big? It's a really. I'm trying to think of what those big luxury gilded mirrors are. It's 4x6, big on the wall.
Look, if I had to pick one thing that has a demon curse, it's gonna be a mirror, right? That's clearly teleportation through and through.
it could be like yeah, as you said, teleportation or a means of entering here. How's the mirror aligned as far as the exploded door?
Likely it walked through. It's in the room, right? The one that they said he was in.
Yes.
It probably walked through, ripped him to shreds, burst out of the door.
That seems likely. If that was
Okay.
the way that it was to be done. From the doorway, if you are as you say that, you sort of back up. You're trying to get the sight lines down, Luke, as you ask this question. Standing in the front doorway, the room is like a simple, like, square room. Again, it's this, like, internal living room / kitchen kind of deal, and then the rest of the apartment stretches out against the wall so that the bedroom has a nice view and stuff like that. You can just, the mirror isn't facing the door. It's like off to the side of it, but you can see it from the front door.
I
Okay.
believe our next question is going to be for the Emporium. What other items of this category have been sold?
Mhm.
And to whomst?
Archibald, with a visibly sweaty forehead, goes, "So should we cover the mirror, do you think? Or do you think we should put something over it? Throw it out the window and shatter it? What do you think is the deal? Whatever you guys
We
think.
can-
You're the monster hunters, just whatever the normal MO is." You look around and notice, suddenly, where there was once like 6 city sentinels in this room, there's now 2. There's Fisk and the lieutenant that was standing next to him. Everybody else seems to have suddenly decided to make their way out to the hallway and investigate there.
All right, I'll go to the mirror and start smelling it to see if like that burning like horrid smell like smells stronger. Like maybe less of like the fleshy smell burn, but
It is the smell is the strongest next to the body.
Okay.
But as you make your way over to the mirror, you do still smell it there quite powerfully.
All right. Does it seem to like wane getting away from the body and then get stronger near the mirror, or is it just kind of like ambient all
Yeah, I
over?
would say that's true.
Okay.
Good detective
And
work.
yeah, it definitely is like the aroma carries to the mirror here too. So I might want to just investigate that exploding door just to see kind of like what sort of force might have done that. I'll kind of like look at the pieces to see if they're like how they're broken.
No roll required. Something very large and very strong smashed into the door going very fast. Not much more there. So something just absolutely rammed through the door out into the hallway. Something big. Like, not as big as a bear, but like a really big dog.
Hmm.
What's strange is the robot downstairs did not see it exit through the lobby. It scared a bunch of people. They all evacuated, and then it disappeared again.
Yeah, I mean, if it came through the mirror, why wouldn't it exit through the mirror?
Archibald, sorry, the lieutenant actually, this would make more sense. With almost tears in his eyes, goes, "So do you think it's still in the building?"
Well, I mean, there hasn't been another murder out front, right? So at least maybe if there's a connection between the murders in the alley and the murders in here,
Yeah. You
it
see,
maybe needs a target.
High Sentinel Archibald takes what is essentially a like palm-sized telegraph and starts tapping out a message quickly.
Yeah.
And you hear some movement from the guards outside. He goes, "I've instructed them to set up a perimeter around the building."
Great.
How did you do that over Discord? He goes, they'll set up a perimeter. If anything comes in or out, I guess we'll know. And the lieutenant, under his breath, murmurs, "Yeah, we'll follow the dead sentinel bodies," before he takes a drink out of a water bottle.
Travailer Luke, do you believe we should shatter this glass?
I mean, should we maybe like take it with us back to the Emporium if they have ideas about it? They might help, or
If this colors
Maybe
your choice in
Chinese.
any ways, this thing looks expensive as hell.
yeah, I don't
doubt
know
Vigil
how much.
cares, but it's just important to note this thing. You know when you look at a mirror at like an antique store and you're like, "Oh, that's nice," and then you look at the price tag and you're like, "What?" And it's like
$6,000.
$1,200, and you're like, "Why?" That is sort of what you're
I'm
dealing
still-
with here.
Yeah, I still don't know how much our agency like has as far as like budget for destruction.
None.
And okay, yeah, so
$0.
we might not be able to like just destroy things willy nilly, but we could probably like if you want to take it to the Emporium, maybe they can kind of fill us in on it.
Certainly. Also, Who would complain if we were to smash it? The man is dead.
Yeah, you said he had some relatives, right? But would they kind of claim his loot?
Sentinel Archibald goes, they've put up... We've informed them that he's passed away, but the gentleman died less than a day ago. I mean, they're not clamoring for his belongings yet.
Yes, we'll take this with us.
Certainly. He just steps out of the way. You take the demon mirror out of the room, and he's like, yeah, no, if you have to. If it's what you gotta... Ooh. Next time you need to fill out a requisition form, as you just lift it off the wall.
I'm going to say now that we're away from them. 50-50 odds. That might be in the building. It might have gone back through the mirror. If it's in the building, I'm sorry to the Sentinels. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. All
right, off to...
And I guess there's no, like, blood splatters from, like... You got pretty gory when you were looking for the heart, but it seems like the mirror's probably clean of blood.
Yeah, I think this was a ways back. Yeah. The splatter went that way, the mirror's back there.
I do have an important magic question. I know that your clothing magically stays clean. Is there a moment when that happens? Like, because you win elbow, because, like, there's no way that your arm came out clean. Does it just sort of... When people aren't paying attention, does it just at some point end up clean? Or do you have to, like, and it just all flies off?
You know, in video games, when your character's bloodied, and if you fast forward through the time, it just fades away? That's exactly what happens here. It takes a couple minutes.
Yeah, so as you turn and sort of start making your way towards the stairs, it is already most of the way gone, and at a certain point will look like some kind of weird artistic choice. So you guys exit out the door of Huldrick Apartments, which is on the other side of the river, and make your way on foot over to Orville's Antique Emporium, which I can't find on my own map I drew. There it is.
I do have a car, so we can take that instead of just carrying this giant mirror the whole way.
Yeah, it's a very short trip, but the car does make it somewhat easier. You basically just have to go down the street, take the bridge over the river, and pretty shortly on the other side, you see the form of Orville's Antique Emporium, most notably drawn out by the fact that there is a giant sign out front that says grand opening on the 12th of High Water, which you know is in 4 days.
Great.
It would be divinely funny if we were to walk into the shop and all he sells are old mirrors. I know that that's not the case, but it would be very, very funny. Anyway, let's go in. Is it a building full of mirrors? Yes or no?
You open the front door with a sort of hearty like ding-a-ling. And you see all kinds of antiquities. There's a lot of like things spread out across the room. There are like desks with roll tops and all kinds of just sort of, very wealthy versions of how to decorate a room, right? There are lamps that are extremely fancy. Against the walls, there are a decent number of portraits and I will say, a shocking number of mirrors. Like a good chunk of the wall space is taken up by them. You don't know if that's because they sell well or if it's for some sort of more unearthly reason. I imagine there's a lot of them sort of spread out across the walls. There's more like in the corners of desks and things like that. Sort of the like little prop ones that you would put on the edge of things. There are some that are attached to these like large basin desks like people used to use in... These must be either recreations or incredibly old from like before people would just use magic to maintain themselves and then use technological magic to maintain themselves. But yes, there is a sort of comical number of mirrors filling the space.
With the vampires in the city too, I can imagine like you get vampirism and you're like, no more mirror, I'm just going to sell it. And so there's like maybe like an abundance at these antique stores from that.
I hadn't thought of that. That's really funny. That's pretty good. And you do see that tending the desk, not that far from you, probably only 20 feet, from the front door. You do see a tabaxi of this sort of even, light, sort of khaki complexion.
Orville, I presume.
Hello! They quickly swivel over, eyes wide, look at you, and then look down at the mirror, and then point up at a sign with a smile, and there's a big sign over the top that says no refunds.
We didn't purchase this.
Wonderful!
Yeah. We were hoping you had information on how you acquired it.
We are Travailers. Travailer Luke and Vigil.
Interesting. How did I acquire the mirror? I deal with many vendors who operate within the city, all along the splendid legal channels of manufacture and creation and acquisition within city walls. Often I buy from those that have recently departed or similar such situations. Obviously,
Became vampires.
Fair enough. We actually do, and he points, and you see there's an entire hallway that's just racks of clothes and stuff, and he goes, for whatever reason, when people become vampires, they usually change their whole thing. They, like, buy new clothes, and, you know, it's like a trend. It's kind of an eat, pray, love thing for them. But no, of course, everything I own was purchased legally within the city limits, so I would need to look up the specific vendor that I ordered that piece from or purchased it through. Why?
Yeah, I think that the better question here is not necessarily how it was acquired, but was this perhaps part of a set? Were several acquired at the same time from the same vendor that sold you this one? There has been a murder. Bum bum bum.
Bum. The music really helped you out on that one. I guess I want to say probably roll manipulate someone.
Gonna hit him with some charm.
Right? Nothing else feels particularly compelling, and he's not an authority figure, so you can't, slap him with your divine edict.
That's an 11. 6 4 1.
Wow.
Yep.
You see this, Orville looks over and turns back, and you do see other people shopping in the building, and a couple people who look like they are probably vendors who rather than selling things to Orville for Orville to sell, rent space inside of Orville's store, basically like rent a little room and put their stuff up. And Orville goes, obviously it will stay private that I have told you this, correct? Just say that you dug through my garbage and found a letter. I will need some sort of promise that you will not tell anyone that I have divulged my contacts.
I promise. I'm only interested in hunting a monster.
Yeah, at least once the monster that we've hunted is gone, the implications of your other, merchandise will be no longer needing to be worried about, because there won't be a monster attached to it all.
The mirror that you have just presented me with was part of a large lot bought from the Ghost Guides. And you would both be aware the Ghost Guides are a smuggling group that flies down out of the city to the ground and will, knock a house over, take everything in it, and fly back up. I'm told that it was part of a large set retrieved from the same sort of manor house or estate. I don't know much more than that. I do not ask many questions. If I did, they wouldn't sell to me anymore. Much like they will never sell to me again if you tell them what I've told you.
Don't worry.
Great.
Yeah.
Not interested in ruining business.
I do have, I will say, I know it's connected to a mirror, and so obviously if other people are looking for it, or you think somebody killed somebody for the mirror, that'd be bad. If you like it because it's fetching, there's quite a bit from that collection that I still have here.
We could definitely take a look at it. How many pieces from the collection have you already sold?
Do you mean only mirrors and wall art, or do you mean from the household?
From the household entirely, and then maybe more also the particulars that are kind of like mirrors and wall art. Anything that kind of has like a strange aroma to it.
No, it was a recent purchase, very trendy. 12 or 15 large pieces, and then a silverware set, a dining set, a table and chairs. So, all told, 30 or 40 pieces.
For clarification's sake, did you happen to sell one of the set to the last Bishop of Rhodes here in town?
Make another charm roll. Manipulate someone again.
I rolled snake eyes, so I'm gonna burn a luck point on that.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right. Pretty early. Now I'm gonna bring these characters back just so that to pay you back for using a luck point so fast. Yeah, I think using a luck point for you has to be pretty direct, right? It's got to be sort of a flare of divine magic.
Actually, when I spend a point of luck, I get word that my mission, capital M, requires something difficult that must be done by me urgently.
Okay, so I will keep that in mind. As you sort of flex a little bit of divine power over this gentleman, you see
Speak.
Orville goes, yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool.
They bought, well, I need to be clear. I sell a lot of stuff every day, so the pattern doesn't really emerge for me. I sell a lot of things every day. They bought a large decorative mirror for the for the convent, which is
understood.
So unfortunate, perhaps. I can look into my logbooks and we can see if there's any more intent than that behind it.
Absolutely. Prevailer Luke, good luck. I'll be here.
And I, the DM, I'm going to reset the music, so give me just 1 second.
Absolutely.
Right.
So,
I'm going to switch over, for anybody watching on stream, I'm going to switch to stream starting soon so that you don't have to look at me toggle through Discord. Whoop, wrong one.
So you're going to check out the logbook with Orville to see what other pieces he sold in that set. Now, here's the thing. Even if we do find out, like, oh, 2 other people bought it, but there's like 4 more in the shop.
And we're back on cams. Hi.
Hello. We are probably going to need to shatter the 4 that he hasn't sold yet, and that's sort of rough because we have a budget of $0 to buy it from him. Maybe just if we cover it up, that'll be good enough, or set it face down.
Yeah, I mean, he himself, he hasn't been killed yet, so...
Yet.
Yeah, I'll look through the logbook to see if any other mirrors, and I'll also ask him, also, like, do you want to give, like, this mirror a whiff? Like, did it smell like this when you sold it to them?
No. We go through an extensive disinfecting process, and he leans in much more extensively when anything comes from the world below, to keep off any sort of magical radiation, lingering spell effects. You know, magic died 100 years ago, but every now and again a curse does creep through, you know. Sometimes that's what people want. Sometimes people are seeking cursed artifacts, but these mirrors were part of normal sets. They are not made by the same manufacturer. They do not bear any maker's mark to connect them. They're simply all from the same house. I don't know if that's connected, really. I can show you the rest of the collection. Most of it's still in storage, but I could walk you both down for that.
Yeah. And do you know what house they came from? Like, any, like, distant family relation?
You'd have to speak to the ghost guides. To be perfectly frank, I refuse that sort of information.
Alright.
It's the last thing I need is to learn that something is from some particular place that some particular person has claimed to. It's messy. I like a little deniability.
Oh, yeah, well, we've already dealt with a lot of messiness with the, his name, Vesper Moitan, too, yeah.
Oh, it was Vesper?
Well,
it's a shame.
It's all of them, if we're being totally honest.
I know, but Vesper bought a lot of stuff.
I heard 114 visits in the last year. That's a lot.
I deliver to people in that building all the time. I'm in and out of most of the buildings in this area of the city. I am the premier antiques dealer in the Greater Towers. And by the Greater Towers, unfortunately, perhaps your blood runs cold, he means Prescott Towers and about 3 other neighborhoods in the area.
I see.
So, it's just, Vesper was just a wonderful customer. I would say of those 100 some odd visits, probably 15 or 20 of them were to old Vesper. He just had a passion for old art.
Yeah, did he get the dragon one from you too?
Oh, yes. Fine piece.
Alright. I must have been enjoying that one so much that then he bought this one from you too.
Yeah, no, I want to read. Vesper's in here a lot. Wow. And the portraits, I mean, of course, it's a print of Romagon. Everybody wants pieces of that. I mean, come on.
Wow.
Yep. Not big art enthusiasts. Do you guys want me to show you downstairs? What are you two up to?
If you could show me the mirrors and show Luke the logbook of sales, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Luke, he just reaches under and takes up like a big, chunky book, about like yay wide, a pretty thick logbook with like a belt that keeps it closed, to sort of keep the pages compressed. And he goes, "Did you want to stay up here with it, or did you want to? You could walk downstairs with me and your friend here, and you can look at it here or down there. It's up to you. I'd rather it stay close to me, but as long as you promise not to tear the pages out, I guess you could look at it up here."
I can take it with us, and I'll just kind of like try to bolster it on my arm and just like open it up and start scanning for like the ghost guides, like pieces and all that.
Sincere apologies if it's any trouble. Just follow me. And he walks you deeper into the building. As he moves by, eventually you see he walks by a sort of younger, here's my list, my big list of NPCs. You see he moves by a sort of younger human woman and goes, "Rebecca, could you go watch the counter?" And she goes, "Yep," and moves up forwards. He moves deeper in. It's quite a large place, and eventually you guys sort of snake between these rows of just endless antiquities. And perhaps because of what you've just been through, you cannot help but notice every time you catch a glimpse of your own face sort of whipping past you in a mirror, or a little shine of light coming off something a little too reflective, before eventually he walks up to what is to like a big freight elevator. He walks up, unlocks a padlock, and like lifts it up and goes, "Come on in."
While we're walking, Orville, I know that you said that you have a pretty strict disinfectation process for your items that you get from the main world.
So step inside, he shuts it.
I would recommend maybe taking it one step further.
And you slip.
From now on, if at all possible, potentially hire out the aid of a part-time cleric to bless or consecrate your loot from the surface.
I mean, I can try. There's just not many. I mean, there's what, 3 clerics in the city? I would have to bring my prices up so much.
Yeah, maybe a cleric in training. They could get a lot of experience consecrating stuff that way.
Yes. If you must raise your prices, it will become necessary in the near future.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Long-term investment.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose another Vesper. As the elevator sort of clicks, you're maybe 2 floors down, so you probably, if you were to bust through a wall, you'd probably be in the sub-city, the sort of underground area where those who truly cannot deal with the sunlight sort of make their daily lives. He walks forward out of the elevator, opening it behind you, and then takes a left turn, and you are in a maze. This place is an absolute labyrinth of just stuff. What is above looked like a ridiculous amount of things, with the knowledge that there were like several floors that you didn't go to, and the downstairs is twice as bad. Stuff is stacked. There are areas where he clearly is collecting like old books, and they're stacked not even this way anymore. They're just in big vertical piles. There are like things propped up on other things. You begin to sort of detect a loose sense of like sorting. There's like portraits that are all kind of from the same place and kind of from the same time, and books that are all sort of by similar authors or kind of in the same genre. And eventually he sort of snakes down a little bit before he goes, most recent purchase, obviously because it all came from the same shipment, is pretty much all here. And turning down one more way, it opens up into a very large sort of warehousey style room that is full of what are clearly the unsorted recent purchases. There are many, many more mirrors, some tall standing ones, some short, some leaning against the wall, some hung. Lots of chairs, tables, things like that. To play off your joke earlier though, Vigil, this is the first room you're in where you're like, that's a lot of fucking mirrors. Like, where it's like a disproportionate and weird. You're like, whoa! It's a very striking difference from the others. They're like covering the walls. There's areas where they're like leaned up against each other in like stacks that go out like 4 feet from the wall, where there must be like 10 or 15 of them deep. And he goes,
"This is too much.
Everything we've got. That's what came in the last 2 shipments, the older of those 2 being the one that Vesper's mirror came from.
So, how many mirrors are in this hall?
I mean, I don't have as it's not inventoried yet. I'd say 50, 60.
Jesus Christ. I mean,
Just pick a
God.
Roads, I don't know. We've discussed this. You are a celestial from nobility, so you don't pray to gods. You probably pray to whoever is like the angel of like progress, or whoever is in charge of your battalion.
I say Travailer Vigil. I just say myself.
It's, I mean, a difficult. Here, and he reaches over and switches. The light switch for this room is a big industrial breaker, and you see a big like sets of tube lights like down, and the room glistens with light, and all of a sudden, all of these reflections start to like fill the space, connecting the different room and lighting it up. And he goes, "That's
and everything.
all we've got in here."
All
If you
right.
wanted to poke around, you're more than welcome to. There's the roll top, and he points. There's a desk under the blanket behind the table if you wanted a place to peek at the book.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, all the inventory that you've had in here, nothing strange has kind of like happened to it within the past like couple weeks, right? Like, it's all just sort of been kept organized.
No murderers have crept out of any of my items in my store. No, I believe I would have let you know. If you wish to investigate through the things, you're more than welcome to. I'm afraid I will be a poor host if you're planning to ask me about each item. I buy hundreds of items a month and flip them just as fast, I'm afraid. I rarely spend the sort of intimate time that you are maybe seeking to gain information about any of my individual objects or purchases.
Vigil's gonna go sniff the mirrors.
All right, I'll check the logbook for any other people who have purchased these mirrors or anything else from this, or I guess the 30, 40 pieces that have been sold.
Absolutely. So I guess this isn't quite investigate a mystery for Luke. So Luke, I guess just make a sharp check as you're trying to like delve through and find details. Vigil, you can roll a more direct investigate a mystery. Luke, you're doing something so specific that I don't want to just give you a list of 6 questions that have nothing to do with what you're doing.
All right. I rolled a 9 for my sharp.
9, mixed success. Okay, yeah, so you don't get exactly what you were hoping for, but you do get a fair amount of information. Looking through the logbook as it is, you see that the purchases Orville has been dealing with lately start extremely varied. It's all kinds of stuff. People are buying, old, like, Arcanophones. People are buying, like, early predecessors to the gun. There's some, like, history enthusiasts buying stuff like that. And eventually things sort of bottleneck, and you're not sure if that's a change in what Orville is selling or is a change in what people are buying. Do you know what I mean? And so eventually things move to art objects, and then they move to art objects from this very specific period back when like immediately following the collapse when Arcist was initially wounded like 500 years ago. People are buying like art pieces from that time period. And then it narrows even further to like wall art from that time period. And then eventually in like the last month, Orville's selling nothing but like mirrors. The last month is just sale after sale after sale after sale of similar large format mirrors produced at the same time, all by different artisans seemingly. He does seem to try to keep track of like what is produced and make sure everything is like certified. Switching over, Vigil, what did you get?
7.
7, do you get anything?
Yes, that's a partial success. So I think I hold 1.
Hold 1. So you can go ahead and pop one of those questions, or if you just want to poke around and hold that for later, you can.
I'm a little bit torn on either going with what is being concealed here or what can it do. And I guess the specific on what can it do is like how does this work? And what is being concealed here would be like trying for a connection between the mirrors that are being used to travel.
I have a great answer to your question, or at least part of it. As you're poking around and you're sort of looking through these mirrors, you're like lifting them up and out of the way. Orville is sort of standing in the doorway, keeping an eye on what the two of you are doing, probably making sure that you're not going to like bust up all this stuff. You're not sure. Eventually, you end up in a situation you maybe didn't intend to, where you keep pulling mirrors out and setting them to the side while you look at another, until eventually you are sort of sat in the middle of an array of mirrors sort of sweeping out in all directions. And as you were looking around at them, you're trying to figure it out. You're looking for maker's marks. Is there anything else specific you're looking for?
Yeah, it's mostly maker's marks. It's if there's something inscribed on any of them that was clearly aftermarket. If they're patinaed in the same way, things that would just jump out as being like, these are the same thing.
Yeah. As you were doing this eventually, and you end up, like I said, sort of sat in the center of this big circle of them, eventually your eyes are moving around and you start to notice that some of the frames have a like little line across the top, and you can't quite make out what it is. And then you walk up and you like get really close and you like lick your thumb and you trace along it, and it's a little barely visible. It's a line of soot, like from smoke, just on the top edge of the mirror. It would be impossible to clean. Like if that big pour of smoke happened, like you saw around the body, right? You'd be able to just sort of wipe down the whole top of the mirror. But it's this like really thin part that's pushed into the crack. And so you've definitely discovered what can it do. This creature is jumping through mirrors. And what is being concealed here is also revealed to you as it occurs to you that means someone is cleaning these mirrors. And you hear a door slam shut and a lock get closed. And a voice go, "Sorry, gentlemen!" As Orville has shut and barred the door.
Yeah.
Whatever will we do?
Vigil, it seems like he's only been selling mirrors in the past, like, month. This is kind of strange merchant behavior.
Vigil, as you turn to look at Luke as he says that, your reflection does not turn. And stares back at you. And we're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to come back, grab a snack if you need it, grab a drink if you need it. It's 8:50. This is a great time for us to take our break. I think we're maybe not halfway through, but we're pushing through. I'm going to go stream starting soon, and we will be back in 5 minutes. Ooh. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our Monster of the Week game on this episode of Scheduling Conflicts, our show within a show to make up for when we can't do the show because of scheduling conflicts. Our story thus far. A killer has been stalking Prescott Towers, a small neighborhood on the floating city of Artifice. Our band of intrepid heroes has been trying to track down this mysterious otherworldly killer who ripped apart a gentleman by the name of Vesper Moitan. After some quick thinking and investigation, they put together that Vesper seems to have been in some way related to a figure named Orville, who has been selling antiques, and sold Vesper a mirror that our party quickly deduced whatever creature it is that killed Vesper seemed to have crawled out of. Making their way over to Orville's store, they managed to make some solid charm checks to get a good amount of information out of Orville, not aware of the fact that he was holding back a very important detail. As Orville invited them to come in and look closer, bringing them down the freight elevator into the basement, and then deep into the maze-like basement to a far corner of it, Orville introduced them to the large collection of things that had yet to be sorted, and as the party investigated and discovered that Orville had been selling a lot of mirrors to a lot of people for quite a while, Orville slammed the door and locked it, just as Vigil discovered A, that the creature is absolutely coming through mirrors, and B, that somebody has been covering up that the creature has been using these, just in time for Vigil to turn around to look at Luke and have his reflection stay staring forward at him. And that is where we are going to pick up the action. Vigil, as you whip back around, the face matches back with yours. What do you do?
I whip off of my back my massive, shocking warhammer. This is my divine weapon, and I swing it into the glass with my reflection.
Wait, our budget!
Absolutely, you take this massive swing across and shatter the mirror standing before you, and you definitively watch as in the moments before the hammer makes contact with the glass, the reflection, any little wrong angle to the twist of the neck, any incorrect placement of the elbows and arms vanishes, as it clearly goes back to just being your own reflection. As you shatter it, and then looking around the room, become very aware of the fact that you are in a room absolutely full of mirrors.
I'm afraid, Traveler Luke, that we have company.
Yeah, it looks like the guy left too and locked us in here. So seems like he's quite intentionally selling these mirrors to people. And
keep your eyes on the mirrors. See if there's any break with your reflection.
As you
all right, I wanna
go ahead.
I'll probably, if there are any that don't have covers, I'll put on some covers and head to a corner and maybe hide behind a mirror.
Sure. I would love to make you make a roll about that. I can't quite decide what fits. Probably just act under pressure. Go ahead and roll plus cool.
All right. And
I don't think you're reading a bad situation. You're just sort of responding to it. So.
Yeah. Would that include the cosmic insight where you never need to act under pressure due to feelings of fear, despair, or isolation? So not due to fear for this,
this is you
or
trying
just
to cover the right mirrors and stay out of the path of others, so that a big creature doesn't come and attack you.
Good point. All right, so just
so this is less to do with fear and more to do with you being careful.
All right,
but it's not kick some ass because you didn't try to beat up the creature.
Yeah.
Vigil was close, but the creature had already left.
All right, so I got an 8 for that.
8 on that. The keeper's going to give you a worse outcome, a hard choice, or a price to pay. You absolutely do what you meant to do. You quickly run over, grab a big set of blankets and tablecloths off of something and just sort of throw it sideways over a big row of these mirrors. You're going to easily cover 9 or 10 of them, but in the moments before you do, you and Vigil both watch as one of these tablecloths woof, kicks up as something darts underneath it, and in the moments before you can notice, you just see a shimmer, like a distortion in the air, whip by you as you feel a deep slash across your side. Take 3 points of harm.
Okay.
If you have any armor, make sure to subtract that. As a deep cut rips across your side, and Vigil, you see this shimmering image dart across the room and disappear into another mirror across the room. And as you look at it, that mirror's reflection of Luke isn't quite keeping up. It's moving a half a step behind. Because you got a mixed
3
success, the creature has been somewhat revealed. Yes, it is 3 harm.
All right. Yeah, I take that in full in my casual outfit.
Darn.
So yeah, definitely just like my leg as I like kind of like stumble like with like the
My
wound,
leg.
like start crawling into the corner. It's like, Vigil, this thing's very sharp too.
Yeah.
Instead of just burning.
As you crawl off into the corner and Vigil, you reposition. The creature clearly doesn't seem to be aware of the fact that you all sort of watched it vanish.
I'm going to act as if I don't know where it is and be approaching like to the side that mirror.
Sure.
And instead of aiming for the glass, I'm going to aim for the reflection. You know, in karate where it's like, don't try and break the board, try and hit the ground below it. I'm going for that.
And so you're just straight trying to kick some ass? You're trying to hurt the
Yeah, I'm
creature?
kicking some ass here.
Great. So you just sort of try to like reposition carefully and then whip around and swing. Go ahead and roll tough. Spooky.
10. 5, 3, 2.
10. Awesome. With 10, choose an extra effect. Gain advantage, take 1 forward, or give 1 forward to another hunter. Inflict terrible harm, do 1 additional harm. Suffer less harm, take 1 less harm. Or force them where you want them.
Force them where I want them. I want it out of the mirror.
Yeah, so you take this big swing and slam into the mirror. How much damage does your weapon do?
3. It is 3 harm, hand, stun, holy.
Great. It has a little bit of armor, so you feel some resistance as you don't quite manage to do the full 3 points of harm. You smash it, and more importantly, as you do, it reaches out over your hammer and rips its like big. Again, it seems to be sort of part and parcel to a mirror itself as your own reflection moves forward and then eventually distends and warps. As its hand reaches out, it claws at your arm, dealing 3 harm. Make sure to reduce any armor that you have. But as you swing... Let me finish.
Okay.
As you swing, your hammer hooks the edge of the frame, and you whip the mirror across the room, and it lands in a corner where there are no other mirrors, and suddenly you see this reflection like backed up against the wall looking out at the two of you. You see these like mirrored irises darting, and just notice the like warp as it is clearly backed into a corner. What's up, Luke?
All right, I was going to try to protect someone to give him a warning about the attack as it clawed at him.
Sure.
Like, I guess having seen it and how it attacked me, trying to like just shout at him, just be like...
My question is more centered on, is that the kind of move that you do in response to another one? Maybe I'm getting a little too D&D here. I'm just going to look at the larger page really quick just to make sure that I'm looking at that rule right. Yeah, sure. So how do you try to do that?
I'll just like, from just like the way it like reached or like it went by me and like slashed me, I'll just be like, it's pretty quick and sharp with those talons. Keep an eye on them as you hit them.
Sure. The text to protect someone is a little bit more direct. It's a little bit more like tackle them, like get them out of the way, because you might take the harm instead. And that's a little hard to justify if all you're doing is from across a room saying like, be careful. So tell me how that physically interposes you with the creature.
All right, I think maybe since it like reacts to the mirrors, I'll try and like grab one of them. I'll like tell them like watch out for the mirror, and I'll like toss one of the mirror, like maybe one of the smaller ones, like slide it towards the creature to try and like confuse it.
Sure, to try to like mess up the signal. Okay, yeah, sure. Go ahead and roll tough, and let's see what the result is.
All right, that is a 10.
On a 10 plus, so do you want to suffer less harm, turn all of the danger to you, inflict harm on the enemy, or hold the enemy back? I wouldn't hold the enemy back. Vigil has already chosen to do that.
Yeah, I'd say suffer less harm, just because or for the prepare to defend trait, I'll negate that damage.
Okay, how much does prepare to defend take one more harm away, or does it say none at all?
Yeah, it says, well, you suffer 1 harm less. So if I like suffer a little harm,
Yeah, so it went from
that'd be-
so Vigil erase that 3 harm because Luke has taken it on instead. That 3 harm
Ah,
becomes
okay.
2 harm because of the 10 plus, and then becomes 1 harm because of your ability. So what you do is, as this creature lunges its arm out towards Vigil, you think fast, grab a like hand mirror off the table, and like whip it between the two of you, and watch the creature's hand like reach into that mirror, extend out of another one near you, and like barely scratch your face as you take 1 point of harm.
all right.
And you sort of manage to refract this creature across multiple mirrors, sort of finding a weakness in its strength, as it is whipped across the room by Vigil and trapped in a corner with no mirror other than the one at its feet, which is now pointed at the ceiling, which you look up and thankfully is not a giant mirrored ceiling.
An important note, with my divine ability, Smite, my body and divine weapon always count as a weakness against the monsters I fight.
Yeah, so you can outright kill a monster and bypass the actual weakness that the monster has by rules as written. That also means that the monster is going to work hard as hell to stay away from Vigil. Makes sense. As you desperately hurt a monster that seems to be largely impervious, as I described, a sense of fear fills its face as it stares at Vigil. It now views you as the predator in the situation. What do you guys do, though, as you have it trapped in this corner?
I'm going to walk up to it with my hammer, arcing electricity, and get ready to swing on him again.
So you just sort of stroll forward, lightning crackling off of your hammer. As you do, this creature turns to the mode very much of something backed into a corner. It hunches low, like protecting its neck and head with its claws high, and is ready to attack you when you try to attack it. You just kick some ass, run up, and try to swing at it?
Yeah, seems like my best bet.
All right, Luke, if you're planning to interrupt harm, you're going to want to get in there.
Yeah, I'm a little pretty wounded now, so I think I'm just kind of like hurting and just reeling a little into pain.
Are you anywhere
at 4?
Like dying or anything?
I'm beyond the little threshold, so I'm at unstable.
Okay, so when you're unstable, that means everything gets worse. It's easy for you to take more harm as things continue to snowball.
All right, Vigil, good luck with it. I'm gonna kind of recoup here.
That's all right.
And
47 harm wounds are serious and unstable. They will get worse unless treated. Mark the unstable box. So your condition will decay until you get help. Vigil, so what exactly are you up to as you approach, crackling hammer in hand, this creature afraid backed into a corner? You might not know the answer yet because it's our first session. I have to know what Vigil is the angel of so bad that he has this lightning hammer. So roll plus stuff, yeah?
Yep.
You just get to this like standoff position, and then you dash in as the creature dashes forward, and you just ram into each other.
Only an 8 on that one.
Okay, you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. The amount of harm is base, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, this thing is really going to try to defend itself. You go ahead and take 3 points of harm.
Down to 2.
And then I'll take 3 points of harm with a little bit of a reduction. This thing is starting to look kind of injured as you swing across into it, and it, again, just digs its claws up into your arm as you swing, and then one manages to get under and rake across your chest as you sort of slam it across the space, and it hits into the wall. You watch as it lands on the ground. The creature gets up and bounds forward, not being able to get to any of the mirrors. It just dashes towards the door and shatters it against the ground and lunges off into the dark basement. You've scared it off. The creature runs, fleeing out of the room as fast as it can. The moment stills, the mirrors all stay inert. But you know you have to pass through the basement, or at least one of you does, unless Vigil wants to risk Angel's Wings teleporting. You are injured and sort of sequestered off here.
I grab a big enough mirror that I could, put it over the top of the creature,
Sure.
and I use angel wings to go towards the exit, like where we had come down from, like at the elevator entrance.
Sure.
Know what
Do
I
you
mean?
try to take Luke and yourself?
Yeah. Worst case, we get separated.
All right. And meanwhile, I'm gonna like grab the book, kind of curmudgeonly, and just be like, "You said we didn't want to rip these pages out," and I'll rip some of like the older, the older pages
tearing.
out, and just like try to like use them to sop up the blood on my arm and face. Just like
That's incredibly funny. I love that.
Traveler Luke, I'm going to teleport us towards the elevator. My plan is as follows. I will hit it. The mirror, I believe, if we throw it down over the top of it and set the mirror face down, it will be stuck inside that mirror. Potentially, if I then shatter the mirror over the top, it will destroy it in this nether plane that it's currently occupying. So
Notably,
you use the mirror, I'll use the hammer.
I do just
Sounds
want to
good.
say, to heal yourself, you are going to need either a hunter's heal because of the level of harm you're at. You're either going to need a hunter's healing move, so a move that heals you, a magic to heal you, or you're going to have to go to a doctor and receive help.
Okay.
You are quite injured. At
Yeah.
this point.
I will
Vigil,
try to
are you in a
use.
similar boat, or do you have a bunch of armor and you're fine?
I've got 2 points of damage, so I'm still okay.
Yeah, I'll try to use magic, I guess.
Vigil, are you
And-
at 2 armor?
1 armor.
Oh,
I'd only gotten hit once.
Oh, I thought you got hit twice. My bad.
Oh, I interceded the other one. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll use magic and kind of like call on that cosmic painting to like, kind of like the form of like the painting, like kind of like or kind of like staying whole instead of like shredded or
All
something.
right,
kind of like
we need to
transmuting
stop and
that.
do this then, because you can make your situation worse trying to do this.
Okay.
If you glitch, you can end up making your injuries worse. So as
Yeah.
Vigil proposes that, Luke, you interrupt, I assume, to say like,
Yeah. Let me just see if I can like kind of close these wounds up a little
sure.
and just kind of like get into a trance for that and breathe deeply for a little bit.
Yeah, you try to connect to this like greater sense of not even something more fundamental than magic about the world, and try to like channel some of that and just change the reality of how hurt you are. Go ahead and roll plus weird.
All right. I guess my mental image versus the reflected image of damage, perhaps. Oh man. Yeah, I might use a luck point for that.
Okay. Do you?
Yeah, well, I would have gotten a 6 total, and that's probably not enough, right?
A 6 would inflict more harm upon yourself. You would fail.
Yeah.
You would end up more hurt.
So spending a luck point, your first encounter comes into play. It could be a flashback, new occurrence, or related events.
Okay, great. I'll try to work on that as we move into this. So does that makes it a 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it automatically rolls a 12?
Yep.
Okay,
The
cool.
magic works without
Nice.
issues. Choose your effect. I'm going to go out on a total guess here and say heal 1 harm.
Yeah, I will get back away from unstable now.
Yeah, so you just automatically magically heal 1 harm as you breathe a sigh of relief. Your wounds are still severe, but you are no longer unstable. You manage to staunch the bleeding. You're still in pain, but you're not bleeding anymore. As Vigil, you move up, grab Luke by the shoulder, take this big mirror off the wall, and try to teleport and vanish to another area. Go ahead and roll plus weird. Not Vigil's strong suit, if memory serves.
It's not. I've got a -1. But I did roll a 6 and a 5, so 10.
Yeah, having really, really good natural luck like Spencer kind of helps you just sort of be like, whatever.
It's fine.
It's gonna
Give me -3.
So that's a 10.
Yep.
Yeah, so you vanish and reappear outside of the elevator. The grate is closed behind you. You turn and see that there is no elevator there. Obviously, Orville has taken it all the way back up to the 2nd floor. You are just in perfect darkness right now. The lights are off. You are deep in the basement. You have this mirror. I take it you're trying to set your plan in motion.
Feels like
How
the
does this-
time.
Yeah, how does this creature work in perfect darkness if it's like a mirror image then?
Yeah, I think it exists sans mirror as well. I don't think that it is sort of a refractory beast, but not just through the mirrors. It just happens to use those for travel.
Yeah. As you guys have this conversation, I'll give you the opportunity if you want. You can either move into getting ready, which will be probably act under pressure or read a bad situation, or you could investigate a mystery or read a bad situation as you kind of try to ponder the way that this creature functions. Because that question has an answer, and that answer matters a lot. Do one of you want to try to roll one of those? They're both plus sharp.
Yeah, I can do that. I can kind of with what you've mentioned about the mirror and stuff, I'll kind of keep an eye on that as I'm pondering and roll 11.
11. Which one do you go for? Are you investigating the larger mystery, or are you trying to read this bad situation you're in?
I guess investigate the mystery, because we're kind of trying to figure out how it's navigating with these mirrors and what kind of constraints it has.
So you can hold 2 on what happened here, what sort of creature is it, what can it do, what can hurt it, where did it go, what was it going to do, and what is being concealed here. And you definitely have access to all those questions. You are in the right place at the right time.
All right. So what was it? What did it do, and where did it go? Maybe.
Yeah. Can you, if you somewhere, you should be able to just pull up the results for investigating mystery if you want to take a look at that list.
Yeah. There it is. All right.
If you have the PDF open, they have really good bookmarks.
Yeah, I see.
So it's really easy to click around.
Oh, okay. No, I got it now. Maybe first off, where did it go?
Sure. As you ask, where did it go? It is perfectly silent in this basement. And so most importantly, you don't hear any sounds of movement. The creature is hiding. It's not prowling the halls. It's not looking for an exit. It ran into the dark, seemingly aware of the fact that you two cannot see in the dark, and is just staying still somewhere.
All right.
Vigil hurt it, and it seems like it's a creature that does not often suffer wounds. And so it is seemingly just sort of taking cover and waiting for you two to leave.
All right. And I guess maybe, should I do... What sort of creature is it then? Or what can it do?
That's your choice. As you're sort of piecing together the evidence, what does it feel like you're moving towards?
Probably, I guess, more knowledge about, what can it do, since, we already had the mirror with us, that would probably be good to know more about.
Yeah, will the plan work, or is that not how this thing functions at all?
Yeah.
Sure. Looking for more detail on what specifically this thing can do, you've seen this creature jumping from mirror to mirror. I'll give you one answer somewhat for free. This thing is obviously and clearly a demon. There's no reality where it is a devil. Devils are conniving, intelligent, bipedal most of the time creatures. This thing is an animal in a very real way, which definitely puts it at a demon. You can now tell, A, it can teleport between mirrors, and it doesn't seem to need to run from mirror to mirror. If two mirrors if you can see the mirror in the reflection, it can just kind of bamf from one to the other. If you can isolate it in just one mirror, its only option left is to exit the mirror. If what that leads you to believe, which is what you two are obviously angling for, if you put it in a mirror and shatter the mirror, you will force the creature into the physical space where it could totally be just killed, where you could just beat it up until it dies. It won't send it into the mirror dimension. You won't kill it automatically by shattering the mirror. What you might do is isolate it to a single location. If you could whack it down, you could then cover the mirror and bring it somewhere to fight it there. You could bring it somewhere that is favorable to you. There will still be a dangerous, scared demon when you get there.
So if we can trap it in one mirror, then drop the mirror into a pit or something, it'll be sort of stuck in that area.
That would be very clever, as long as there's nothing reflective. So don't drop it into a well.
Yeah.
Make sure you're bringing it somewhere where there won't be reflections it can jump into.
Drop it into a well, and then it's part of the water stream.
I really hope neither of your characters wear glasses.
I've got casual
Vigil.
clothes on.
All right.
I wish there was like a D&D equivalent of a religion check. I really want to make Vigil roll something. I'm like, does Vigil? Because I didn't think we were gonna have a divine. I'm like, I want to know if Vigil knows who this is, right? Demons have names. Sorry, I'm whisked away in what a blank spot in this game. But yeah, no. So ball's back in your court. You have this plan, and it would work. Not as perfectly as you maybe dream. But the problem you're facing right now is that this thing is hiding from you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna go on the prowl. I'll see if I can find it.
All right. Should I kind of like leave the mirror here, get ready to maybe you can like lure it to the mirror, and then I can drop the cloth over top of it.
I'll push it this direction.
Smash cut to the moment in every TV show like this where you're like, what are they doing? As Vigil grabs the hammer. Luke, still injured, holding the mirror, and you two just like start moving through. Thankfully, you have this sort of blue-colored cast from the lightning that swirls around the head of Vigil's hammer as you move deeper into the labyrinthine underground of this antique store. You pass by mirrors, portraits, picture frames, furniture. One or two times you turn the corner to see a mannequin or doll and are like, ah! As you prowl in deeper and deeper. What is your goal here? You're obviously trying to like track down the creature, correct?
Yeah, trying to locate where it went to hide.
That's different. If you're trying to track it down that way, roll read a bad situation. Because you gotta find it before you can kick its ass.
9 plus nothing.
9, hold 1. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers I haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? What's the best way to protect the victims?
What's my best way in, baby? Where is its ass?
Yeah. As you're looking for sort of your best way in, you look back down the hallway, and knowing that this creature is trying to escape from you, Vigil, the right course of action immediately fills your mind as you are making your way down, and every time you pass one, you start hitting out with the base of your hammer and shattering every other mirror as you pass. If you can break every mirror, you know there's not that many left behind you. If you keep breaking them as you move forward, you are boxing the creature in. It will have to run past you if it can't jump from mirror to mirror the way it normally does.
Perfect. I continue shattering all the mirrors we pass by.
Absolutely. It is pretty soon afterwards, not too long, as you continue this course of action, as you're shattering these. You got a good result, so I can't make any hard moves on you. As you turn the corner, you are looking down a long hallway. You know the main storage room's behind you. That's the room you started in. There's like a little room off to the side. You like kick that door in, and you peek in, and you don't see anything, and you don't see any mirrors in that room. You look straight, and there's just a long hallway in front of you, and you know that the creature is down that hallway. As you slowly move, shattering mirrors, until there's only like the last 5 feet. Barely enough. If you were to reach out your arm too far, you'd touch the stone on the opposite wall. There's a large mirror off to the side, another smaller one pushed up against, and then on a desk cooked into the corner with one of the legs broken, something he can't sell, there's a little desk mirror, barely bigger than this, positioned. What do you do?
I'm gonna shatter the tiny mirror.
All right, roll to kick some ass.
Nine.
9 does not kick you up into the next tier. You rear up and swing down at this tiny mirror. With a 9, just as you do, leaping out of the small mirror in front of you that you did not swing at, the one that is about knee high. You watch as the creature, backed into a corner, lunges forward at you, Vigil, jumping into the air onto your face. But unfortunately, you are an angel with angel reflexes, and so you whip the hammer and turn, and just as its claws sink into your shoulders, your hammer slams into the side of its face, and you send it slamming into the wall, shattering the third and final mirror in the room. Go ahead and take 3 harm. And I will... Siri, this isn't about you. This thing lands, slams down onto the ground, and you see this reflective, perfectly shiny, like silver nitrite blood pour out onto the thing. The creature limping back into the corner, tries to put its hand on the small mirror, and then turns to discover that when it jumped out with too much force, and that mirror slammed down onto the ground.
I sidestep, and I reveal behind me Travailer Luke with a large mirror.
Absolutely roll to manipulate someone. Do you have a terrible charm stat?
Yeah. No, my charm's 1, actually.
Okay, so Travailer, this is something we haven't done yet, and so I just want to draw attention to it. Luke, if you want to do something, it's up to you if you have a good stat in it. You can roll plus cool to help Vigil. Do you have a good cool stat? Or is it
My
your
charm's
minus
0 at least, so.
You're
Cool
you're
stat.
cool.
Mine, -1.
That's your
So.
plus cool, not charm.
Yeah. Yeah, charm is 0, cool is -1.
Okay, so probably not then. All right, because you can roll to help out to get a bonus to give a +1 to Vigil was my point. So that's fine if you don't
Yeah,
want to do
sorry.
it because it's potentially could cause more trouble than it's worth. Vigil.
11.
With an 11, with manipulate someone, they'll do it for the reason that you gave them. It's for a monster, which is a little tense. I think that this is just perfect. The creature's absolutely terrified. You step out of the way, but you manage to sell that it's you losing focus. The mirror's up, it's like you get distracted, and it lunges forward, eager, and dashes into the mirror, disappearing. Safe, seemingly for the moment, from you. Luke, Vigil, what do the two of you do as you know the creature's in the mirror?
I
Cloth over
take
it.
several steps back.
All right,
I'm
Luke,
almost
so you
dead.
just like pull a cloth. Do you have a bag, or do you just have like a big blanket?
Yeah, I guess just on the way here, I probably would have grabbed a cloth off one of the other pieces of furniture that will now be collecting dust since it no longer has a cloth on it, and I'll just like put it over this thing and then just tie it tight.
You pull, flop it down on the ground, tie it behind it, and then hold it back up. You can feel the mirror like shimmying and shaking under your weight. The creature can't seem to get its way out anymore. There is nothing to jump to. There is no reflection to move to, and it also can't just crawl out because you have closed it off from any light. There's no light by which for it to travel. You've got it trapped. It is still a demon, and this situation is not perfect. If too much bright light were to cast through the cloth, right, the creature would just be able to rip its way through the cloth. You are in pitch black. What do the two of you do?
Unfortunately, Travailer Luke, the only place nearby that I could teleport us to that is dark is the interior room of that apartment complex. There will be other constabulary there, which is nice, but I'm almost dead, if I'm being totally honest. I'm unstable. I have two more hits. Well, one more hit in me, I believe.
Maybe we can take it back to the office. We've got plenty of like cabinets. We can just keep it in there for now.
Take the day, rest.
I'll say this: you can try. A moment will come when you will have to move this mirror. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get another cloth to like wrap it up too, just to make it like now that it's like stable here. If you want to keep just put a little bit of pressure on it, Vigil. I'm gonna go grab some more cloths.
Yeah, hold on tight.
Wrap this thing up snug. All right. So, yeah, I'll go. So probably just back into the furniture room to grab a couple more pieces from that, and maybe if they've like tied rope around some of the furniture, use that too to help make it snug.
Absolutely. Just 1 second.
So if I just swing my hammer at it, I might kill it. It might only have one hit in it too. But if I do that and I don't do it well enough, I'll also be getting hit, and I will be dying.
Mm-hmm.
Stabilization in this game, I'm actually not sure how it works.
Unstable wounds require first aid to become stable. While unstable, they may get worse. That's all. So you have to actively heal it. That can be via magic, that can be via an ability, that can be via a doctor. What it means is that 0 harm wounds are considered healed right away. 1 to 3 harm wounds improve when you receive first aid, and later just when you rest. So, like, if you have a minor wound, it just goes away, or you can heal it. These wounds do not go away.
And how does dying work?
You take your last harm and you die, right? Yeah, 8 harm or more will kill a normal human.
Okay, cool.
Including a hunter. So if you should have 7 HP, right? You might have a little more based on your specific vibe. If you take your full, if you fill in that last box, you're dead.
All right. If I get hit one more time, I am dead.
Oh my gosh. Well then, yeah, let's keep this thing snug.
7 health.
7, yeah.
So it's when you would take, I guess then, reading off of this, it would be when you would take the 8th. So if you fill all 7, you are actively dying.
Okay. You're
when you
dying,
take
you're
1
not
more
dead.
damage, you are dead.
Okay, that actually makes me feel a little bit better.
But if you were to roll a kick some ass and get a 6, one of the things I can do is deal 1 more harm.
Yeah, greater harm.
Granted, this creature's probably going to use that move to get away, but that's the idea.
But, yeah.
Luke,
All right.
What exactly are you trying to do? So you run off. You leave Vigil behind in the dark, and you're looking for more string and more other stuff. Go ahead. You wouldn't have to act under pressure, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because this would be sort of fear-based, right? This is me asking you to sort of stay conscious and self-aware. As you move into the other room, and you're grabbing up all of this stuff, and you grab this rope, as you come back around the corner, heading forwards, you watch, you're staring down the dark hallway, and suddenly you see light as you watch the door to the elevator come up, and you watch Orville walk forward, gun first, into the room, looking around. What do? Orville has come down to investigate what happened.
All right.
Siri, this isn't about
read
you.
Probably read a bad situation, and like I'm just gonna like quietly like back away from him and get this stuff to Vigil like quietly.
He's between the two of you.
Oh, between the two of us?
Yes. I've
That room,
complicated the
elevator,
situation.
me.
Okay.
It's a storytelling game.
Yes.
Tell the fucking stories, Devon. Go ahead and roll
All right.
in a bad situation.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll just be like seeing if there's a way of like getting around to him. Like, he does at least seem to value his stuff down here, so maybe there'll be a way of distracting him. So 13.
13?
6 and a 5
yeah.
plus 2.
Pull up the read a bad situation list. You get to hold 3.
3.
I'm not reading
Okay.
them all that many times. Go ahead and just take a peek at
I got it here. All right. Yeah. So I guess my adrenaline's definitely kicking in.
Yeah, your vision clarifies. You go around the corner. You see him. You see the gun first. You know he's armed. You know that this situation, you're hurt. Vigil's hurt. The creature's almost dead. This has just turned incredibly bad. Orville's uninjured. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'd say, what's my best way out would be the one for, like, what's my best way to get to Vigil so we can, like, teleport out of here? Then?
If you specify that, sure.
Yeah, alright, so that'll be the first one.
Great. Looking at the situation in front of you, he's stepping into the dark. He does have a small benefit over you. Tabaxi can see in the dark pretty well. So Orville will be able to sort of tell what is going on. Your best case scenario is he thinks that you two are dead in the room you just left. So he's going to come towards you first. He's not going to come towards Vigil first. So if you can hide or sneak past him, you'll have a good time delay as he goes to that room. What's your second question?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah, definitely, like, maybe what's my best way in then for, like, finding a good hiding place that he would probably wouldn't look at while he's traveling into the room?
Yeah, as you're looking out in front of you, this place, as I described it, is a maze. So there's a lot of really good hiding places. You're looking for one that is, like, absolutely guaranteed. As you, like, back up against the wall, as your eyes go wide in this moment of fear, you back into the desk that he pointed out to you as you were moving through. Not the one in the room, the one out in the hallway. And there's, like, the little space for your legs. You could just duck underneath it, and he'd probably move right past you.
Great, yeah. So I guess sliding in there, and
you've got dangers we haven't noticed, biggest threat, vulnerable to me, and best way to protect the victims. I guess Vigil's the victim.
Yeah.
But you kind of already know the answer to that question, right? The answer is be careful, move past him, get Vigil to the elevator.
I guess, like, maybe any other dangers we haven't noticed down here, since we've kind of, like, already got this guy to deal with.
Stepping out of the elevator behind him is a city sentinel who is also armed, and you hear Orville go, I don't know, they forced their way in with this weird mirror and started barking nonsense about some creature. I didn't understand it. And he goes, that's all right, sir, thanks for calling this in. And he's moving in, and he does not have the same sort of pea-shooter pistol that he does. He has a large shotgun in his hands and is sort of moving in a kind of trench-clearing motion. Orville has manipulated a city sentinel into thinking that you two might even be the cause of this. That is the biggest danger, and the one you haven't noticed yet. As you duck underneath, however, you succeeded on that check to know the best way forward. You watch as Orville moves forward past you and then stops. The city sentinel's legs are, like, just past you, so you could creep out if you wanted. It would just be very dangerous. And Orville goes, the door, I don't know what, and the sentinel goes, I thought it's fine. They just might have smashed their way through. Let's go take a look. And the sentinel goes to move around him to look into the room with his gun. What do you do? Vigil, you hear voices.
I lift the mirror up off the ground so it's not clanging and hitting the stone, and I'm just standing there waiting.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, like, probably leave most of the rope and cloth here, because it's probably going to be a lot to, like, carry back now that I'm trying to stealth. And so maybe just, like, one cloth, like, wrapped around my arms and just sort of, like, blink away towards Vigil.
I would, again, you are sort of immune to fear as you embrace the comfort of the universe. You do not have to make an act under pressure roll, as you just, like, and just go around the corner and turn. Vigil, you see Luke come around the corner.
I hold my hand out for him to grab on.
Yeah.
And then, oh yeah, as you put it over the top, I grab onto your hand and disappear.
Okay.
And let's see if my instant transmission works.
What's it gonna be?
I have to use another luck point. If I fuck this one up, we'll die. So yeah, I use another luck point.
Come on, come on. Let me have some fun.
And where I'm teleporting us into that room that had no windows.
Yeah.
In the apartment building.
And you shattered the only mirror that was in that room. I'm gonna say this is fine from now on. If we do Monster of the Week one shots, let's do one luck per episode, guys.
I wasn't sure. I thought we might do 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
It's fine. Keep in mind that's supposed to last you a full campaign of Monster of the Week, and when it's full, your character dies or whatever.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the other things that you can do. You can spend a luck to just decrease a wound. So that is one of the more popular, I guess, sort of ways to spend it. You little rats. Yes, you vanish and reappear in the apartment. It's been probably like an hour at this point, so I do think the people are still in this room. You reappeared to discover that most of the minor officers, like I said, have stopped and have put a perimeter around the building. You reappear, and Archibald Fisk, the captain that you left here an hour ago, is standing there and has just received a message clearly. He looks up at the two of you appearing, you with this mirror, both of you horribly injured with wounds that match the corpse. And thankfully, Archibald's not an idiot, and he goes, "Oh my God, what happened?"
It's in here.
Yeah.
What the fuck? What do you mean it's in there?
Keep
in a
the
mirror.
lights off in here. It might get out if it's too bright.
The lights are on.
Okay, turn them off quickly, please.
All right. The lieutenant reaches over and turns the light off, and then goes, "I can't exactly," and he looks at the door that he cannot shut. And just sort of like, there's no way for him to do this. Yeah, he's a trained professional. He's going to sort of do his own act under pressure and go, and he walks out into the hall, and you see him take a baton off and just shatter the light bulb in the hallway.
Perfect.
So that light goes dark. A little bit of light is still sort of filtering in from other spots in the hall, but there's no direct light pouring into this room. You hear the captain say, "So, I just heard word that Orville reported you two as assaulting him. Looking at your wounds, I'm going to assume that that's not quite..."
He kind of locked. He said he'd like help us out with like showing us the inventory, then locked us in his labyrinthine basement with the monster. So we've been kind of struggling with that right now.
Seems like he's sort of the summoner, or he's getting some sort of boon, or he's just crazy.
Okay.
Who knows?
Just a real, like, it comes over the guy.
So
Like,
whatever
what's
officer you have with him, go ahead and message and say put him under arrest.
Yeah. You see, you hear the...
Or call for up first too, because Orville was armed.
Yes, he is armed.
He goes, "I'll trust the officer to know what to do." And then, I suppose. And then after that message stops, you hear him like turn a little dial, and then on this little like palm-held telegraph.
All right, Travailer Luke, what's the plan?
All right,
you hear the
Sergeant,
voice
do you
of the
have any?
lieutenant from out in the hall go, "Can't we just shoot the fucking mirror?"
I mean, it will burst forth from the mirror when we break it.
Yeah, and then it'll
we've
start.
established that.
Man,
Yeah,
you
then
just
it'll
need-
start searching for other mirrors. It is really wounded though, but it's also like I don't know how tough is it, Vigil?
I believe that if I hit it one more time, it will die.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Great.
bleeding and it looked very injured.
I'm hoping.
It's not. You would. I clearly saw that it was in pretty bad shape. It didn't look like it was about to drop dead at any moment. But one good hit would probably get it done. I mean, for the record, your hammer hits as hard as an assault rifle. So it's taken it shelled a couple hits from that.
We've got two allies here. Are you guys in the mood for being heroes and helping out, like maybe like suppressing fire to keep this thing pinned down?
I'll name you honorary travailers. You get your own longsword and cloak.
Make a manipulate someone roll. You get your own longsword and cloak. It's so funny.
Yeah, I got a +1 on that one.
Yeah.
Do I get help from?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I mean, hopefully also, like, if we stop this thing, then all of the other murders planned will hopefully not come to fruition.
You get help if you roll.
That's an 11.
With an
No
11,
need.
you
Okay.
hear a... and you hear a revolver cock, and he goes, "I guess I always did want a sword."
It's
As he
so cool.
points, you see, he just has a handgun, which I would say we're going to have to metagame a little bit here. Is a 2-harm weapon, and he cocks it and points.
Now, here's the thing.
So basically,
I
for the record,
don't-
all he's going to do is modify the harm you do. I don't roll. You're the hero. So you will do essentially 1 more harm. Sorry, 2 more harm.
Everyone, I need to give you a forewarning when we shatter this glass. I need to be the last one to hit it. Because, personally, I don't believe its weakness is 9mm rounds. So everybody else do your shit first.
There's a great moment
And then-
of comedy coming up that I'm gonna love. Go ahead, yeah.
And then I'll do the fell blow.
Does it help if it's a 45?
No.
All right, just checking. As he places his revolver. No. Yeah, I mean, so you place this mirror down on the ground. He backs up with his gun. You have your hammer. Luke, I don't suppose you have a weapon to draw, or do you just not want to risk involvement at all?
It's the only. I think this is the only mirror in here, so I'll be ready to use it to like kind of like shimmer it around like I did before to try to like.
Oh yeah, you have to
disable it.
You have to shatter the mirror.
Yeah, or maybe just like even like opening up like so it can come back into the mirror if it feels like it, but like maybe to like wave the mirror like just to.
In case of failure, I need to know which you do. Do you
I want to
uncover
try
the
and
mirror? Do you shatter the mirror? Do you flip the mirror? I need to know what you do.
Yeah, I want to just like I think uncover the mirror and like be ready to like use it to protect Vigil if it looks like it's going to go straight for him.
Use the refraction
So you're
ability.
basically going to prepare to make a protect someone roll.
Yeah.
Okay. But that means the mirror will be intact, so if you fail, this creature has somewhere to run.
Yeah.
Okay. As you all prepare, you get into position. Luke, you grab the edges of the cloth and pull. Vigil, go ahead and roll the most important kick some ass ever. You really want that 10 plus if you can get it.
I got this. 8.
8. On a 7 plus, you and whatever you're fighting inflict harm on each other. The amount of harm is based on the established dangers in the game. That usually means you inflict the harm rating of your weapon, and your enemy inflicts their attack's harm rating on you. You will do... So it's 3 harm plus 2 for 5 harm in total, correct?
All right, yeah. Sounds right to me.
And I guess as it's leaping out of this, I'm going to try and like jostle the mirror so if like I can like help to like shield Vigil from its attack.
So as... Very important decision. I'm going to ask you to make that roll in just 1 second. As you whip it back, the creature immediately lunges forward. Vigil, you immediately hear a crack as a shot goes off, and the creature, like, gets knocked off course as this bullet shoots into its shoulder. As you swing down and it lunges forward, Luke, roll protect someone. Vigil, you know you did the damage. You swing, you know your swing is true. The question is just... who takes the hit from the creature?
For glory!
Oh, man. So that's only a 4.
With a 4...
Should I use my second luck point?
You can.
Should we be
I do want to stress that is less interesting.
Yeah.
But you can. Sure, you burn a luck point. Go ahead and mark that off. To get up to a 10 plus. Choose an extra. Do you want to suffer little harm? Focus all danger on you, inflict harm on the enemy, or hold the enemy back? I'm guessing take less harm.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you at right now?
At 3 damage.
It's not good no matter what, but we are sort of going to kick it out of dangerous. Yeah, as you get into the situation, you go to pull on the mirror, you feel your grip slip, and then feel this moment of connection with whatever it is that Vigil has to do, with whatever it is that you have to do, whatever it is that brought you together, and you know you have to protect Vigil. And so you just reach your arm out and wrap your arm around the waist of the creature and pull it backwards from Vigil. Its claw, Vigil, like, woof, swings in front of your face as you crack down on the top of its head, sending a course of lightning through it. It screams at the top of its lungs, letting out this horrible, crystalline, baleful shout before shattering into shards of glass that rain across the room, and that is what does 2 points of harm to Luke, sending you scattering back, unstable and injured, but alive, and the creature dead. You have shattered the mirror, killed the creature, and by extension, solved my mystery.
Ooh.
As it lays dead, you both catch your breath and hear a come back to the captain, who goes, well, it seems that the Private got a shot off, but I've got bad news. Orville escaped. But we'll get him another day. He has to come back, and we can take his business. Whatever money Orville was making in the city, he's not making it anymore. I don't know what his plan was, but we interrupted it.
Well,
That's for
Captain,
sure.
that is a job well done. I must now ask you to accompany myself and Travailer Luke back to the office of the Travailer so he can give you your longsword and cloak.
Mm-hmm.
And with that,
And
go ahead.
and with like the prepare to defend, that reduces the harm I suffer from protect someone by 1, and then with that luck check to reduce it by 1 again, that I guess the -2 harm would have been 0. So I imagine just like
So
-3, so it'd
3
be
harm,
1.
3 harm, 2 harm.
oh,
1
it was
harm.
3. Gotcha. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So it was the 1 harm. All right.
So you are gently unstable.
just-
You're lightly unstable.
Yeah.
You have a dusting of unstable.
My
yes.
hands are certainly hurting from the sharpness of the glass.
As
Okay.
you catch a breath, head off, and I guess induct your first new member of the Travailers. That is where we are going to end our wonderful session. I had a blast. You guys, that was really, really fun. I guess just in case, we should mark some XP, right?
Yeah.
So one of the trade-offs, this is actually very convenient. I think every time you guys rolled a 6 or less, you burned a luck point. So I don't need to worry about the fact that you gain an experience every time you fail a roll, because the two of you decided to not fail any rolls this game and sacrifice some experience along the way. I remember that there was some reason why you didn't just burn infinite luck. That's why. You don't gain as much experience. Did we conclude the current mystery? Absolutely.
It's 1.
Did we have this, and then you get some based on the end, based on your overall. Did we save someone from certain death or worse? I guess Vigil. For the record, I didn't think you guys would sort of immediately track down Orville so quickly. So there were other people that would have died, and you saved them, I guess, by extension. Did we learn something new and important about the world? Yes, demons are back.
Yeah.
And did we learn something new and important about one of the hunters? Do you feel like either of you really learned something or revealed something important? I'm not so sure we hit that one. What do you think?
I'm trying to think of any times where that might have come up, and the answer is no.
Yeah, we were pretty action-oriented this time. So I think with that, we'll call it 3 yes answers. Go ahead and each of you mark 2 experience. So that for our next thrill ride episode of Scheduling Conflicts, the next time one of us can make it to the game, we will have an experience point to mark.
And now we have a backup character, so if, say, me or Stefan are the ones that can't join, somebody's got a character they can jump into.
That's very... See, I hadn't even thought of... See, that's planning ahead. That's how you know where to start.
That's professional production.
For anybody who tuned in or anybody tuning into the future, I was very excited to get to run Monster of the Week. I'm glad that we got to do this. It was a fun adventure. It had to do with Prospect. I feel like we had a very brand-centric adventure today. This was good. Do either of you have any little closing things before we hang up the call and call it a night?
I had a great time. That was fun. I love Monster of the Week, so it's always good to get to jump in. I'm looking forward to Scheduling Conflicts Season 1, Episode 2.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. It's kind of a little bit of a quantum leap of a game. We truly do not know when will be the next time we will meet this band, or if this will even be the game we're playing. I guess we could keep the same characters and play Blades in the Dark or something like that. That might not be too bad. All right,
True.
With that, we are going to wrap up there. Tune in every week on Wednesdays. Usually, we're really gunning for 7:30 is our hopeful start time for our usually the party makes things worse in emergencies scheduling conflicts. You can also tune in Mondays at 6:30. That's our actual start time for that game, right, Spencer?
6:30, yeah.
Yeah, Mondays at 6:30 is DM Writer's Room, where we try to, take a little bit of the anxiety out of designing adventures by doing it publicly, where people can see how we do it and what kind of notes we think matters. I don't think we really have much else. We're moving forward on trying to get some adventures out there. Check out our website, check ttrpguy.com, check out our TikTok, check out this YouTube if you want to watch this every night for the rest of your life. Get our views up. Like everything that you see, please. I think that's all we got. We'll see you all probably on Monday, unless Spencer posts another hilarious D&D thing on TikTok, and then I guess we'll see you then. Catch y'all later.
True.
Peace.